Welcome back. This is the place where we cut through the polished media talk and look at the real business behind women's professional basketball. Here's the truth, plain and simple. In pro sports, no amount of money or promotion can guarantee real interest. Leagues and networks can spend millions on marketing, create storylines, hype rivalries, and push star players as the face of the game. They can promote non-stop across big TV platforms. But none of that truly decides what people watch. At the end of the day, the power sits with the viewer. When someone picks up the remote, they make the final call. And that decision is honest. No marketing campaign can fake it. Fans don't care about forced narratives or carefully planned images. They care about what genuinely excites them. Right now, there's one key factor that stands above everything else. A player who naturally draws attention. Someone people want to watch without being told to. And at this moment, there's only one player in women's basketball with that level of pull. Someone who can shift viewership and influence the business side of the sport in a major way. This isn't about opinions or online debates. It's about real numbers and actual audience behavior. The latest TV ratings for the U.S. national team's FIBA World Cup qualifying games are now public, and they send a clear message. One that could seriously shake up how the sport is viewed and managed going forward.
On True TV, they're in. And to nobody's surprise, you look at the average unrivaled game, Caitlin Clark more than triples unrivaled. TNT said, man, I'm getting this Caitlin Clark stimulus package one way.
The commentator's point is clear and hard to dismiss. What people call the Caitlin Clark effect isn't just social media hype. It's showing up in real numbers that affect the business side of the sport. To understand this, we need to look at the bigger picture of today's TV environment, and that leads straight to Unrivaled. Unrivaled was promoted as the go-to offseason league, built to showcase the very best players in women's basketball. It had strong financial backing, major promotion across media, and primetime slots on big networks like TNT. The league featured many well-known, high-profile veterans. But one key name was missing, and that absence made a bigger difference than expected. In its second year, despite all the investment and exposure, the league saw a sharp drop in viewership. Ratings didn't just decline, they fell by around 40% compared to the previous year. Across TNT and True TV broadcasts, the average audience was just over 120,000 viewers. That's not a small issue. It shows a clear lack of interest from viewers. Even if you only count the TNT games to make the numbers look better, the average only rises to about 156,000. For a heavily promoted league with top players, that's still very low. The message is simple. Star power and marketing alone aren't enough. Fans choose what they want to watch, and these numbers suggest that something important was missing. They shut the doors, set up their own stage, and then realized hardly anyone showed up. Now look at the other side of the story. Take a regular Thursday afternoon in March, a FIBA World Cup qualifying game against a much weaker opponent. In the US, games like this usually don't attract much attention. They're considered niche, mostly followed by die-hard basketball fans. They're rarely shown on major networks and almost never heavily promoted. This one had even more working against it. It aired on True TV, a channel not known for big live sports. For most people, it's the extra channel they only visit during early March Madness games. On top of that, the broadcast deal was announced just 11 days before tip-off. There was no big marketing push, no build-up, no hype, nothing to grab the average viewer's attention. It aired during the workday, when most people weren't even watching TV. By every usual standard, this game should have had very low ratings, barely noticeable numbers. But when the viewership data for that Thursday, March 12th, came out, it caught the entire industry off guard.
First, in television viewership, 334,000 viewers for this Caitlin Clark game.
That game drew about 334,000 viewers. Take a moment to think about that. More than 300,000 people tuned in on True TV, a channel many viewers rarely use, to watch a one-sided FIBA qualifying game that, under normal circumstances, wouldn't attract much attention at all. This is where the comparison becomes hard to ignore. When you line that number up against the heavily promoted Unrivaled League, the gap is clear. Despite strong funding, big names, and prime coverage on TNT, Unrivaled averaged around 120,000 viewers. Even using its best-case TNT-only average of about 156,000, it still falls well short. That means this single afternoon game drew more than double, and in many cases nearly triple, the audience. The takeaway is straightforward. One player's presence can bring in far more viewers than an entire league built around multiple established stars. And the contrast becomes even sharper when you compare it to the highest viewership Unrivaled managed at its peak.
Hyped-up event that Unrivaled has, the championship game, still comes up shorter than Mini-Me to a Caitlin Clark FIBA basketball debut. On TNT, you fall short.
The gap becomes even clearer when you look at the biggest moment of the Unrivaled season, the championship game. This was their main event, the most promoted matchup, featuring top players, and shown on both TNT and True TV to reach as many viewers as possible. Even with all that, it brought in about 314,000 viewers. Now compare that to the earlier number, around 334,000 people watching a regular FIBA qualifier featuring Caitlin Clark. That means a single international game outperformed the championship of an entire league by roughly 20,000 viewers. And it did so on a smaller network with far less promotion. There's another detail that stands out. Many of the same players, like Angel Reese, Paige Buchers, Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, and Ryan Howard, were part of both settings. They played in Unrivaled during the season when viewership dropped, and they were also on the court for Team USA. The key difference was the addition of Caitlin Clark. The numbers suggest that the surge in audience didn't come from the group as a whole. It came from the draw of one player. Viewers who weren't watching before tuned in when she was part of the game. From a business perspective, that's a powerful signal. It shows how much impact a single standout player can have on audience interest, and why networks pay close attention to trends like this. It's easy to see why networks might rethink their decisions. If a low-profile weekday game on True TV with almost no promotion can bring in around 334,000 viewers, then moving that same matchup to a bigger stage like TNT with proper advertising and a primetime slot would likely draw a much larger audience. That kind of potential is exactly what broadcasters look for. It suggests that the right player in the right setting can significantly boost viewership and revenue. From a business angle, that makes someone like Caitlin Clark extremely valuable not just for games but for the broader direction of the sport. But TV ratings are only one part of the picture. These numbers are also shaping bigger conversations behind the scenes, especially as the WNBA works through important labor negotiations. Strong audience interest can shift the balance in these talks, affecting how revenue is shared and how the league grows moving forward. Recently, Kathy Engelbert set a clear deadline, saying a new agreement needed to be finalized by Monday to keep the 2026 season on track. That deadline came and went without a deal. Since then, discussions have continued, including long in-person meetings in New York. While both sides are still talking, the delay shows how complex and high-stakes these negotiations have become. In short, rising viewership, driven by standout players, is now influencing not just what fans watch, but also how the business of women's basketball is being shaped behind the scenes. Talks have stretched late into the night, with meetings running until 3 a.m. The message coming from leadership is simple. Negotiations are ongoing, and the situation is complicated. But missing a public deadline has consequences. When a firm timeline is set and then passes without a deal, it can weaken the league's position. It signals urgency and possibly concern about avoiding a shutdown. Why does that matter? Because a lockout could come at the worst possible time. Recent viewership trends, especially those tied to Caitlin Clark, suggest the league is gaining serious momentum. Delaying the season, disrupting planned expansion teams, or pausing play altogether could mean losing a major opportunity for growth and revenue. That's why negotiations have been so intense. League owners don't want to risk slowing down that progress. On the other side, the players understand this just as clearly. Leaders within the union, like Brianna Stewart, Nneka Agwamike, and Kelsey Plum, are seeing the same numbers. They see rising TV audiences, sold-out arenas, and strong merchandise sales. As a result, they're pushing for a larger share of the league's success. This is where things stand now. Both sides recognize the league is growing, but they disagree on how that growth should be divided. The current negotiations are centered on two major financial issues that could shape the future of women's basketball for years to come.
Of the essence, and we need to have the season. The key sticking points have been revenue sharing and housing. These players still refuse to pay for their own housing. These players still refuse to be adults.
The two biggest points holding up the negotiations are revenue sharing and player housing, and they're exactly what kept everyone arguing until the early hours of the morning. Here's the breakdown. The Players' Union is pushing for a true 50-50 split of gross revenue, meaning they want a guaranteed cut of all the money coming in. The league, meanwhile, wants to stick with net revenue, which drastically limits the players' take unless extremely high financial targets are met, targets that are rarely achievable. Until recently, that model made sense under the old financial realities of the WNBA. But things have changed fast. TV contracts are skyrocketing, international sponsorships are flooding in, and the league is generating more money than ever before. Much of that growth is directly tied to Caitlin Clark. Her draw is creating massive viewership, merchandise sales, and media attention. Players and union leaders see that surge and aren't willing to take the court without a clear, guaranteed share of the revenue she's creating. They want a piece of this unprecedented financial windfall. Then there's housing. The fact that top professional athletes are still negotiating over who covers their apartments, despite billion-dollar TV deals, is nothing short of embarrassing. For a major sports league, this shouldn't even be an issue, yet it's a real sticking point in these negotiations. In short, the Clark effect has changed the game financially, and both players and owners are grappling with how to fairly divide the enormous new wealth she's bringing in. The players are making it clear they won't be treated like semi-professional commodities anymore. They expect the infrastructure, long-term benefits, and basic living standards that are standard in every major men's league. But they also want those benefits without covering their own housing costs. The irony is striking. The same veteran players who spent the last season downplaying Caitlin Clark's impact, committing tough fouls, refusing handshakes, and publicly claiming reality is coming, are now using the financial momentum she created as their primary bargaining tool. They are demanding a share of the revenue, the TV money, and the audience she alone draws. In effect, they are holding the league schedule hostage, leveraging what's been called the Caitlin Clark stimulus package to push their financial demands. The league is caught in a bind. Kathy Engelbert is squeezed between billionaire owners unwilling to give up new profits and a players' union that knows a work stoppage would be disastrous. Deadlines are being missed, corporate statements are carefully worded, and negotiations stretch on deep into the night. The true power structure is now obvious. It's not the networks, not the commissioner, and not even the established veteran players who control the sport. It's the audience and the players who can move them. The real power in women's basketball right now isn't held by the networks, the commissioner, or even the veteran stars. It's in the hands of one 24-year-old point guard. She can take a low-profile FIBA qualifier, put it on a secondary channel with almost no promotion, and draw over 300,000 viewers on a random weekday. She can sit for 20 minutes and still outdraw the biggest championship game of a league built to sideline her. Off the court, the WNBA is locked in high-stakes financial battles in New York boardrooms. But the real fight for the sport's attention, its fans, and its revenue has already been decided on the court and in the Nielsen ratings. Attempts to manufacture stars, control the narrative, or build alternative leagues have failed. Fans aren't listening to the hype. They are watching her. Once this collective bargaining agreement is finalized and the regular season starts, the landscape of the league will be permanently changed. The WNBA is about to enter its most lucrative and highly scrutinized season ever, and every executive, coach, and veteran player knows exactly who drove this transformation. Here on WNBA Pro, we cut through the spin and focus solely on the hard numbers and the real business of the sport. For more honest, analytical basketball insights, subscribe and hit like. And tell me in the comments, will the Players' Union push for a lockout to claim their share of the Caitlin Clark revenue? Or will the owners give in before the season begins? I'll see you in the next breakdown.